Hey guys, how are you doing this today? How's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me on another episode of Dr. Sumner's Summit to Wellness. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Thanks so much for joining, Mike. Hi, Simone. How are you? Good to have you. Yeah, so we're here again for another episode. So excited to share some hopefully helpful information with you guys today. For those of you who don't know me, hopefully you do by now, I am Dr. Felicia Sumner. I'm your board certified family medicine physician. I'm dedicated to helping you and your communities become well. That means whole, energized, and loving life. So excited to have you guys here again to share with me today. Hi, purple is my happy place. Hi, Ava. How are you? Thanks so much. Yeah, I like this top too. So thanks so much again for joining. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys from the depths of my heart for the amazing support that I've received so far regarding the book that I recently published on self-care. It truly has been a labor of love, and I'm so excited to hear all the great feedback so far. I have been I've been overwhelmed by all of the wonderful support that I've received so far regarding the book. I definitely want to hear your feedback. Oh, it's Janice. Okay. Hey, Janice. So thanks so much for coming on. I truly appreciate it. I'm just so grateful for all the feedback that I've gotten, and I want to hear it, whether good or bad. What can I do to improve this information for you the next time? So definitely, when you take a chance to read, if you found it valuable, share the link with your friends to download or purchase a copy themselves, because I think that the idea of self-care is just of the utmost importance when it comes to really taking care of yourself and becoming well. So thanks again so much, everyone, truly from the bottom of my heart, for the support that I've received so far regarding the book. And I do hope that it's been a blessing to you all so far. But hey, let's get down to the nitty gritty. We are going to have, I think, a really interesting chat today. So tag your friends, bring them in, share this video on your news feed. Janice said once she finishes her master's in 2 weeks, she'll open the book. Awesome. I totally get it. That is a priority for sure. So get that handled. But yeah, we're going to have a great discussion. So tag your friends, share on your news feed, whatever you can to spread this information, because I think that you guys are really, really going to enjoy it. So yeah, let's get things going here. Give me a second. I'm having a little bit of trouble. Something. Okay, there we go. I was having something funky going on with my computer, but I think we've got it all figured out. So yeah, here we go. So last week, guys, if you didn't have a chance to join our Summit to Wellness last week, definitely check that out. We talked about the top 10 foods to increase your energy, boost your mood, and lose weight. And we discussed the benefits of 10 different foods. We talked about wild Alaskan salmon. We talked about green leafy veggies high in B12, like spinach and kale. We talked about how organic dark chocolate can boost your mood. And we also talked about the massive amounts of health benefits that come from avocados and raw beets. We also discussed the amazing cleansing properties that arugula and baby sprouts, or what's known as microgreens, can have for your body. And we also went over how coconut oil can actually be one of the healthier fats you can use to cook with. And speaking of cooking, we also talked about the off-the-chart benefits that 2 spices, turmeric and ginger, have, especially with regards to getting rid of inflammation. So we had a jam-packed session last week. But the thing is that by the end of that discussion, even though I know many of you said it was super helpful, the thing is that even if we add all of those foods to our diet, if the base of our diet or nutrition habits, if they are poor, then these foods, they won't do all that much for us. Even if we're sprinkling a couple of good foods onto an otherwise unhealthy diet, then it's kind of almost for naught. So that's why today I'd like to get a bit more into the nitty-gritty. Like, what are the foods you might be eating that are, I'm sorry to put it this way, guys, but I just want to be real. The foods that are basically slowly or even sometimes even quickly killing you. What are those foods that you think need to be avoided? So as always, I want to be as interactive as possible so you can even begin, like for the sake of your health. I want us to have that discussion. Join in. And if you know anyone else, like I said, that could benefit from this talk, share the video on your news feed, on your stories. Please tag your friends and loved ones, okay? So thanks so much for those of you who are joining. So let me hear from you on a scale of 1 to 10. Where do you think you are on the healthy eating spectrum? 1 being like, yeah, you could use some major help. I could use some major help. And 10 being that you are like the healthy nutrition guru. You know exactly what to eat and you're eating it. You know exactly what to avoid and you stay far from it. Where are you on that scale of nutrition from 1 to 10? 1 being don't really know much and I'm definitely not doing it, and 10 being I pretty much know everything and I'm doing it all. Hi Colin, thanks so much for joining. So Janice says 5. Okay, that's not too bad. Simone says 1. So we definitely need some help there. For me, I'll be honest, I think I'm like an 8, meaning that I have a really good handle on most of the foods that I'm supposed to stay away from and the foods that I'm supposed to eat. But like as a working mom, a wife, a doctor, super busy lady, I sometimes cheat. I gotta be honest, especially during the holidays. But I've been doing, in the past couple of months, honestly, I do better with food prep. And that really helps me from straying away. And the reason I try to eat the right things isn't just because I want to look really healthy. It's not just because I want to have this amazing glow. It's also because I want to be really healthy. Okay? Did you guys know that there is such a thing as skinny fat? Have you ever heard that term of skinny fat? So Nina says 6. She loves them, but she thinks she cooks with way too much processed foods. Okay, then she changed it to 5. But have you guys heard of a term called skinny fat before? Because you can actually be super skinny, but your organs, like your liver especially, it can still be surrounded by fat tissue and not function properly. So Janice says she hasn't heard of that term, skinny fat. So don't let those skinny people fool you, okay? And even if you are skinny, it doesn't necessarily mean that your heart or your blood sugar or your liver is in like excellent shape. You still need to stay on top of it, even if you're skinny. So I'll remind you guys of a personal example. About a year into residency, I was just finishing my intern year. I was probably as skinny as like almost in high school, honestly, because of the stress now that I think about it. But when I was that skinny, like I was like 100 pounds and some change maybe, but I had my blood sugar checked and I was in the pre-diabetes level. My A1C was high enough. Janice says I was super tiny, right? Yeah, exactly. I was in the pre-diabetes level though, super skinny. My metabolism was great, but I was not consuming the right foods. I was eating too much fast foods. I was eating processed foods. And even though most people would have thought I looked great, I did not feel great. I didn't feel energized. I pushed through every day, and those were long days. Those were like 12, 15-hour-long work days or more. Once I found out that I was pre-diabetic, I knew I needed to make a change. And that's honestly what started me on this journey to better understanding diet and nutrition. Because honestly, and my doctor colleagues who are on this, who join in later, they will vouch for this, guys. In medical school, according to a report in academic medicine, across 4 years of medical school, the average US doctor only learns nutrition in about 20 of those hours. Out of 4 years, I'm saying more than 5,000 hours of learning and only 20 of them. And that's honestly a generous estimate for many schools are spent learning about how to eat right. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I think that's insane. And no wonder. So no wonder when you go to your doctor about your high blood pressure, for example, or your cholesterol or your diabetes, you're wondering why they might discuss a pill as the first treatment option. And it's not because they don't want to help with your diet. It's honestly because most of us don't know how to help you with your diet. There are a significant amount of doctors now, though, who have grown tired of writing a prescription for every ailment. And so we seek out higher education beyond our medical school and residency training, whether it's through our own research or an official certification in lifestyle medicine, obesity medicine, functional medicine, anti-aging medicine. It does often make a difference in how we approach things. Janice said the cookie corner struggle was real. Oh my God, don't remind me. In high school, we had a whole, this is crazy, a whole stand dedicated to selling us cookies. So yeah, that was a hot mess. So yeah, and Nina says, I always use the example, if I were standing next to someone heavier than me, I'd probably be the less healthy given my health history. Oh, Nina. And Nina, yeah, you're pretty skinny too. So yes, skinny fat, that's a real thing. Don't let the skinny people fool you. And Simone says she tries, but she has other challenges that prevents her from being on top of her eating habits. I understand it is not always easy to eat healthy. And my hope is that with some of the hints and tips I'm going to share with you today, that it can be less of a struggle for sure. Marcia joined. Hi, Mom. And Regina, nice to have you guys join in with us. So anyways, I mentioned that about me being pre-diabetic because after I found out I was pre-diabetic, and that was about 8 years ago, I realized I clearly did not know enough about diet and nutrition. And from then, I have been on a mission to better educate myself about the effects of food as medicine or food as poison, not just for myself, but for my family, my friends, and especially for my patients. Hi, Dr. Nunnery. Thanks so much for joining. And Safdu, thanks so much for joining. So we talked about last week how some food can be medicine. And today I'd like to discuss with you guys how some food can literally be poison for your bodies. And I'd like to talk about the idea of processed foods. I know you've all probably heard that term before, processed foods. Have you all heard of that? Give me a thumbs up, something. Yes, you've heard of it. No, that term's unfamiliar. But if you or a loved one, usually if you're ever diagnosed with diabetes especially, one of the first things your doctor is going to say to you is you've got to stay away from the processed foods, the processed carbs. And that's definitely helpful information. But the reality is that almost everything we eat that isn't cooked at home from scratch is processed. And to be honest, it's not realistic in 2019 for you to cook every single thing from scratch, especially if you're working or if you're a parent or a caregiver or juggling a bunch of different responsibilities. Honestly, I have to pack a lunch for my kids for daycare every day. And I wish I could pack them homemade muffins from scratch and fruit and veggies and homemade sandwiches with bread that I've kneaded and baked myself. But it ain't happening, boo. There's just not enough time, at least not every day. But even if it's not everything that you're eating is totally from scratch, they can still eat real food. And so that's my goal when I pack their lunches and when I pack my food, when I eat my food, when I'm cooking for my family, my husband, is that we still eat real food. And so that's the guide I'm hoping to provide you with today. How can you make it through the supermarket aisles and still feel confident that what you're going to feed yourself and your family will not lead to a healthy medical bill in another 10 to 15 years? So I didn't come up with this term, but the word is so real, Frankenfood. Have you guys heard of that term before, Frankenfood? So that's the food that basically falls under the category of genetically modified foods, foods that you can't naturally grow or create in your own backyard or kitchen. And they've been altered through a scientific process to yield a specific result. And usually it's so the food can be grown or manufactured faster, or so the farmer or the manufacturer can make even more money. That's often what it comes down to, sadly, quicker. Or the sad consequence of this, though, is that while you might see that Frankenfood on the shelves faster, your body, it's usually negatively impacted by this poison faster too. So I'd like to give you some hints on what is likely Frankenfood as you move through the aisles, and if it has any of these things that I'm going to talk with you about, you should probably avoid it if you're seeking better health, whether that's for your heart, for your blood sugar, for your weight, for your energy, for your digestion, your sleep. Okay, so actually let's make this fun, because like I said, I'd like to make this as helpful and as interactive as possible. So if you're anywhere near your kitchen, I'd like for you to grab the bag or the box of one of your most favorite snacks. Okay, go grab your favorite box of cookies or your favorite bag of chips or your favorite candy bar or box of crackers, whatever it is that your favorite snack is that you enjoy. Maybe only when you're stressed out, you munch on it, or maybe you eat it every day. Maybe you eat it pretty often. But we're going to test this snack out while we go over these hints. And we're going to see if it will pass the test of not being a Frankenfood, okay? So I'm going to go grab one of my favorite snacks real quick, actually, while we're at it, okay? So give me just a couple seconds, because I'm right next to the kitchen, and you go grab yours, okay? Go grab your favorite snack, cookie, chips, crackers, whatever it is that you like to munch on, and we're going to test if it's a Frankenfood, okay? Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So I don't know if I should show you what my favorite snack is, but I'll show you. It's one of my favorites. But I don't indulge in it often, but when I'm in a mood, I do. So it's these Cocoa Slims. I'm not endorsing this. I'm not tied to this snack in any way. They are not paying me to show you this snack, okay? But this is mine. So I'm going to test mine while you test yours. And let me know in the comment section what's your favorite snack to indulge in, to munch on. So we're going to go through, like we can go check through the nutrition label and the ingredients, etc., and check if it's a Frankenfood. So Mike said fruit snacks. All right, so that may be fine depending on the brand of fruit snacks and what's in your ingredients list. So if you can go and grab it, that would be great, and we can test it out. And Janice says, don't buy them anymore. It's hard, but not buying it has been a huge victory. That is awesome. Great job, Janice. Colin says Rice Krispie treats. Okay, so grab a package of that, and we'll see if it passes the test. Thanks so much for joining, Bona. Good to have you. And Nina says she just scored some Girl Scout cookies, so we'll see how this goes. Yes, we will. Okay, so, all right, you guys are all back. You grabbed your favorite snack. Let's see. While we go through this list, I'd like to see if your guilty pleasure or your favorite snack, it passes our non-Frankenfood test. So hopefully you guys all have your favorite snack with you. And if you'd like to admit it, then you can let me know what that snack is. Some of you guys have shared it with me. You've got fruit snacks here, Rice Krispies treats, some Girl Scout cookies. So bring your favorite snack in, and we will test if it's a Frankenfood as we go through this. And by the end of the chat, your snack, if it has passed the non-Frankenfood test, then I will be quite pleased, and you have to share it with us, okay? Not like literally share it with us through the internet. That can't happen, but let us know what it is. All right, so let's get started. All right, hint number 1, that this is probably a Frankenfood. So we're gonna go over signs of a Frankenfood. So this is like a picture of a tomato. Do you see that? With a syringe in it, because that's basically like what to to basically share with you kind of the idea of what a Frankenfood is. We're just modifying that food in a way where it's not really real. So we're going to go over the hints that you are eating Frankenfood. Regina says hers are chips, but she doesn't have any. Oh man, we'll write down a note and take note of it for when you grab your next bag. And Andrea says potato chips too. Thanks for joining us, Andrea. So hint number one, that this is probably a Frankenfood. It has ingredients that are difficult to pronounce. Okay? Does your snack have any ingredients on it that it's difficult to pronounce? Okay? Because most of the time, it's because these products contain substances that really kind of belong in a chemistry set and not in our body. So like try saying like steroid lactylate or butylated hydroxynisole, right? That's not so easy. So if you can't pronounce it, then don't buy it, except for quinoa. That one's pretty tough for a lot of people to pronounce. If quinoa is on your list of ingredients, that's okay. But other than that, basically, if you can't pronounce it, then do not buy it. Because our body, it's not a petri dish. We don't have test tube bodies. Okay, so if you can't pronounce it, that's hint number one, that your food is probably a Frankenfood if you have things in your ingredients list that you can't pronounce. So yes or no, did your snack pass this test? Yes or no? And if no, what ingredient does it have that's a little tough to pronounce? Let me know. I'd like to hear it. Yes, no. Did your snack pass that one test so far? Test 1 of 7. Let me see mine. Okay. So I'm good. I'm good on this end. They are all pronounceable words, so that's good. Andrea says yes. Good, good, good. Janice says yes. Hers passed. Great, great, great. All right, so hint number 2, that it is probably a Frankenfood. Grandma never ate it. Okay? Grandma never ate it. Did this exist when your grandmother was a child? Did this food exist when your grandmother was a child? So this is like a fun point I like to make, because honestly, when my husband and I started eating organic foods, our parents in particular were like, we didn't need to feed you organic food and you turned out just fine. Like, why are we so focused on feeding our kids organic food? And that is true. But that's because we didn't need to label things organic 20, 30, or 40 years ago. Because genetically modified foods, they became a big thing commercially sold not until like 1994 or so. Mike's, oh, he lost already from test number 1. His contained alpha tocopherol. Yeah, I can barely pronounce that, and I'm a scientist. And that was fruit snacks, guys, fruit snacks that we be feeding our children. So, yeah, his is a Frankenfood. That's unfortunate. But with regards to genetically modified foods, they were not commercially sold until 1994 or so. And before that, all the food would have basically been considered organic. It was all real, unadulterated food. So does your snack pass that test? Was this snack made when your grandma was a child, or at least something like it? So like I said, I picked up my Cocoa Slims. I think that my grandma would have eaten something similar to this. It might not have been named this, but it would have been a cookie that they would have been able to make, like a fudge cookie with a little hardness in the middle. So I think that this passes my test number 2. Janice says, not sure. That's it bars. That's it bars. Do you know them? They're dried fruit. I would say that that's probably allowed. There was probably something similar that they could have made back in the day for dried fruit bars. I think that passes. Simone says she doesn't have any snacks with her right now. Oh, Nina says riboflavin. That's okay. Mononitrate. I can pronounce it. Can you pronounce it? Then maybe we'll allow it to pass the test for now. Sarah says, hi, thank you. And Regina, chips was around. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to hint number 3, that this is probably a Frankenfood, okay? anything containing soybean oil. Anything containing soybean oil. I think I had this written down. Guys, I try to prepare well for you today. Anything containing soybean oil. It contains soybean oil. That's hint number 3, that it is probably a Frankenfood. Because Americans, we get almost 10% of our calories from refined soybean oil, and that's one of the highest sources of omega-6 fatty acids. And we talked about omega-6 fatty acids before. Even though omega-6 fatty acids can be good for you, the problem, especially in the US, is that we are already eating way too much omega-6s and not enough omega-3 fatty acids. So this actually sets you up for inflammation if that ratio is not closer to 1:1. And unfortunately for most of us, the ratio right now is more like 6 or 7 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. So not only are the amount of omega-6s a problem with soybean oil, but over 90% of foods with soybean oil also contain, get this guys, a high level of a chemical called glyphosate. I'll type that in the comments for you so you know what I'm talking about. It's called glyphosate. And I do it on Instagram. Oh my goodness, I'm just moving things all over. So you guys know what I'm talking about too. Glyphosate. So about 90% of soybean oil products contain glyphosate. This is a chemical, basically, aka also known as Roundup, and that's the toxic herbicide used by Monsanto. And the International Agency for Research on Cancer, they have classified glyphosate as a carcinogen, a cancer-causing agent. And that is in 90% of soybean oils, okay? So a lot of fast foods and many packaged foods, they contain soybean oil. So check it out. Okay, does your snack pass the no soybean oil test? Yes or no? Let me know. Does it have soybean oil in it or not? Andrea said, my grandmother made us real food, no snacks, great desserts. So yes, grandmas are always on point with the desserts. That is no joke. Sarah says she's lost, but she does kale chips. Yes, so we're asking you guys to grab your favorite snack. Okay, grab your favorite thing you like to munch on when you're stressed, or you know, things that you enjoy munching on. We're going to see if it passes the is this not a Frankenfood test, okay? And so far we checked in, is it something that your grandma would have eaten? If it's not, then it doesn't pass. Is it something, excuse me, that has any ingredients that are difficult to pronounce? If not, then it doesn't pass. And we also discussed if it has any soybean oil in it, then it doesn't pass, okay? So Andrea says, none in her chips, awesome. Ooh, Nina says, yes, soybean lecithin, but not soybean oil. Okay, then that is kind of okay for right now. We'll have to discuss soybean lecithin at another point, but it's a product of soybean, but not exactly soybean oil. So we'll let you skirt by right now, Nina, okay? We'll let you skirt by. All right, so great. Mike says, wow, great info. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that this has been helpful for you so far. Stick around and let your friends know so they can join in and learn about their food as well. And Janice said her food passed. Awesome. Okay. So, all right, we are now on to hint number 4, that this is probably a Frankenfood. And this is if anything contains high fructose corn syrup, okay? If your snack contains high fructose corn syrup, it is probably a Frankenfood, okay? So I could go on for hours about the damage that high fructose corn syrup can do to your body, so don't get me started. Talked about it a bit during our diabetes discussion, but basically we have found that high fructose corn syrup, it's a major cause of heart disease, obesity, dementia, liver failure, tooth decay, cancer, and so much more. So if you see this ingredient in your food, I can almost guarantee you that it is a poor quality food that you need to get rid of right away. Like if it's there, don't even continue with the test. Just toss it in the trash right now, seriously. Sugar is bad for you, but high fructose corn syrup could actually be even worse than sugar because it's even more genetically modified or processed. Your body doesn't recognize it, and it can worsen inflammation because of that. And with high fructose corn syrup, it doesn't even have like real chemical bonds. Hi, Lexi Live. Hi, Alexis. Thanks so much for joining. So the fructose sugar part of it, it's dumped directly onto your liver, and that's a major cause of fatty liver. So it's such a toxic thing, and it's all over the sweet processed foods, the sodas. I could go on and on, guys. But anyways, does your snack pass that test? Does it have high fructose corn syrup or not? Okay. Sarah says, oh, then I love the homemade kale chips. Perfect. Nina's laughing. I'm not sure what exactly. Andrea says, none for me. Awesome. So no soybean oil. Nina says, tapping out for the record. We don't eat them often. Consider them dumped. Okay. So she threw away her snack. Her snack has failed on too many points already. But does your snack, does it have high fructose corn syrup? Let's check our labels. I think I looked at mine, and doesn't. That's like one of the first things we check out when we do any grocery shopping is if it has it, then it's a no-go. So mine does not. So does your snack have high fructose corn syrup? Let us know. Simone says, oh, I only drink 100% juice. I stay away from the high fructose corn syrup. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's keep it moving. So far, we've named 4 hints that your food is probably a Frankenfood. And if it has any of those things, you should avoid it or toss it. Number 1, if it's difficult to pronounce. Number 2, if your grandmother didn't eat it or anything like it. Number 3, if it contains soybean oil. And number 4, if it contains high fructose corn syrup. Okay, so how many of us are tapped out? How many of us are still in the game? Let me know. Okay, I think Nina said she had to tap out with her. What did you have, Nina? Remind me, what snack was it that you were testing out? And Mike, I know he tapped out with some fruit snacks. And Sarah says, I do have some questions, but don't want to throw you off. Okay, well, let's save a couple questions for the end. I will try my best to entertain them if it's not running too late. Okay, so Janice is still in with her her dried fruit bar. Awesome. Hi, Omira. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, Mahan. Thanks so much for joining. We are talking about Frankenfoods and basically genetically modified foods, the foods that are super, super, super bad for you, and how can you tell if those foods are bad for you? So you've grabbed, a lot of people have grabbed their favorite snack, cookies, crackers, chips, anything of that nature, to see if it is hitting the list of foods that are not Frankenfoods. Andrea says, where were we? Regina says hers are chips. Okay, great. And Rosemary, she picked up her popcorn, and we'll see. Oh no! Nina's lost with the Girl Scout cookie Thin Mints. Ooh, girl. Ooh, that is just horrible. Well, you might want to try these because so far they are passing the test. And again, I'm not endorsing these cookies per se. I do not get any compensation for sharing you my snack. But just so you know, these are pretty good. And they've passed the test so far. All right, so we're going on to hint number 5, that this is probably a Frankenfood. Does your food have the word hydrogenated in its list of ingredients? Hydrogenated. I'm going to type that in the comments for you guys. Hydrogenated. All right. Does your food have the word hydrogenated in the comment, or not in the comments, in its ingredients list? I don't know what's happening. Now I'm just typing crazy stuff on Instagram. My bad, guys. Does your food have the word hydrogenated in the ingredients section? Now, honestly, this is where some manufacturers are going to be kind of tricky. I'll be frank. I'm sorry, there we go. Because most people, they aren't aware that trans fats and hydrogenated fat are often actually the same thing. So you might have heard before, right, that like trans fats were banned. This is where they get a little tricksy. If you see partially hydrogenated, then that's actually a trans fat. And if it's fully hydrogenated, then it's a saturated fat, both of which in many cases, if it's processed, it's not healthy for you. So if you're reading it on your nutrition label, then it usually is not healthy for you. So do you guys see hydrogenated in your list of ingredients? Yes or no? Let me know. Janice says that she passed. Whoopee, good job. Sarah says Beyond Meat and Chicken stuff, are those bad in any way to cook? I know chow is a great cheese. Beyond Meat and Chicken stuff, are those bad in any way to cook? I'm not certain what your question is, Sarah. Can you rephrase that for me when you get a chance? Simone says, I eat Jamaican chips when I have snacks, and they are probably not that healthy. It depends. It depends on the maker and how they made it. Maybe it's something as simple as plantain chips and salt. Then you're probably okay, especially if they were not genetically modified plantain. So double check on that. Yumara says, where can you get those cookies? I think we get them at the Giant, actually. And again, I'm not endorsing Giant, okay? I'm just sharing hopefully helpful information for you guys. Sarah says, I eat plantain chips, not as often as Simone. Okay. All right. So did you guys pass? Does your food have hydrogenated in it or no? Or did you pass? Mine, let me double check. Okay, I'm good. I don't have the word hydrogenated in my ingredients list. All right, so how many of you guys so far are still passing the test? Give me a hands up. Say yes. Oh no, I'm gone. I'm done. With your favorite processed snack, give me a thumbs up, a waved hand. Let me know if you're still in the game. And if so, I'm quite impressed if you're able to pass this test by the end. Like I said, I really hope that you can share it with all of us. Let us know what it is. And I know you can't physically share it, but let us know what it is so we can enjoy it ourselves. All right. So let's keep moving. Sarah says, I don't think Beyond Chicken and Beyond Meat are plant-based. I'm sorry. I think you're making a comment and not asking me a question. You can't find a plantain up here. Bring me some. Okay. Sorry about that, Sarah. All right. So far it seems like we have a couple still in the game. Awesome. So now to hint number 6, if this is probably a Frankenfood, is... Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was supposed to say if it has the word hydrogenated, but we went over that. Hint number 6, if it's probably a Frankenfood, does it contain MSG, also known as monosodium glutamate? For some of you, you might have tapped out if it had that and you didn't think it was a word worth pronouncing. But even though, unfortunately, the FDA says it's safe, it is known to be what's called an excitotoxin, MSG. And what that means is it's a neurotransmitter that's known to kill your brain cells, basically. Have you eaten some foods that you have a headache or a migraine afterwards, soon afterwards? Then you might want to check the label on those foods to see if it has MSG or monosodium glutamate in it, because it's actually a very, very common cause of migraines that I've seen in my patients. I've had them eliminate like their favorite bag of chips or cheesy snacks or something like that had MSG, and their migraines are gone. So unfortunately though, food manufacturers, they can make it really tricky here too, and they may call it something else. Okay, so I'm gonna go over for you a list. Yes, accent. Alexa said accent. Yes, it used to be yes, I think, do they still have accent out there? I think so. That has tons of MSG, but yes, that's a major seasoning that's used with MSG. So here are some other terms, though, that it may go by. Hi, Kuldeep. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. We're going over Frankenfoods. What foods may basically not be real foods, okay? And we're talking about right now, if you're, so people have grabbed their favorite bag of chips, crackers, cookies, favorite snack, and we're checking it against our list to see if we are eating Frankenfoods. And Simone says, this is so helpful. Great, awesome. I'm glad to hear that it's been helpful for you so far. So here are some terms, guys, that MSG might also go by, that the manufacturers might use to trick you, and you think that you've been avoiding MSG and you're not. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein. If that's in the ingredients list, it's actually also MSG. It might also say vegetable protein, gelatin, natural flavorings, and even simply spices, okay? So isn't that like super tricksy? One of the crazy, crazy things about MSG is, like Alexis said, it's used in accent, is that it can harness the power of what's called umami. Have you guys heard of that term before, umami? Umami is the fifth taste sense. So, you know, we all learned earlier in school, there's sweet, salty, bitter, sour. There's also the taste of umami. And that's kind of like the meaty taste. It makes you think that you're eating more protein. And it also heightens your hunger and your carb cravings, so you end up eating more of it. So I've been tricked with MSG before. My husband and I will go out to eat like certain cuisine, and we'll rant and rave about how great that food tasted, only to deal with like the headache afterward. And then we realized we had a meal chock full of MSG. Okay, so as an excitotoxin, basically MSG, it can overexcite your cells to the point of brain cell damage or cell death. It can even trigger or worsen learning disabilities, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, and even more. I could go on. And the FDA, it does recognize something called the MSG symptom complex, which are the short-term symptoms that you can have after you ingest MSG. And that would include headaches like we talked about, but also you could have a burning sensation, tingling, facial tightness, pressure in your face, chest pain, difficulty breathing, nausea, rapid heartbeat. I've had a number of patients who have like palpitations after ingesting MSG, drowsiness or weakness. So check your ingredients list of your favorite snack. Does it have MSG or a hidden tricksy version of MSG like we talked about? And that was not even an extensive list. You can probably look it up and you can see all of the things that MSG might also be labeled as. But does your snack have MSG? Let me know. What about those kettle cooked chips? Depends on the brand, Simone. Many of them do not. And also depends on the flavor. Some of them might. So check the ingredients list for sure. All right, so Janice says no, hers doesn't have MSG or any kind of other tricksy term that they call MSG. If they can't like tell you exactly what's in your food in the ingredients list, then that's kind of like not okay. Like, why are we putting natural flavorings or spices in the ingredients list? Like, why can't you really tell me like what exactly am I eating? Why can't you tell me the flavorings? Why can't you tell me the spices? Or why'd you got to get lazy about it? Because we shouldn't be lazy about what we're ingesting. So they shouldn't be lazy about informing us. So unfortunately, a lot of the times when they have that listed, it's because it's MSG. So keep that in mind. So as you probably know, I could go on till the midnight hour with this information, but I want you to receive enough to feel more empowered and informed, but not exhausted with the info. So I'd like to share just one more hint. Okay, hint number 7, that this is probably a Frankenfood. Okay, look at your ingredients list. If your snack or your food has more than 5 ingredients on the label, unless they are things that you recognize, like eggs, water, basil, tomato, salt, you know, a pure ingredient, you don't have to count those, then it's got to go. If it has more than 5 non-simple ingredients. So count them. How many does your snack have? Okay, let me read my ingredients. I'm going to read all my ingredients off to you, and I'm going to see if I pass the test, because so far I've passed 6. I'm going to read all of mine. My ingredients are unsweetened chocolate, so we won't count that as a non-simple. Sugar, cocoa butter, soy lecithin, which we talked about, Nina. So I'm not going to count. I'm going to count that. That's not a simple, pure ingredient. It's basically soy lecithin. It's an emulsifier. It helps to keep things together. Vanilla extract, we won't count that. White rice flour, cornstarch, tapioca flour, organic non-fat dry milk powder, potato starch, xanthan gum, I have to count that, sugar, palm oil, organic cocoa processed with alkali. Now that's like not super duper pure, so I'm going to have to count that. And it says it contains 2% or less of the following: organic pure vanilla extract, salt, and sodium bicarbonate. So I'm going to have to count the sodium bicarbonate. So mine has 4 non-simple ingredients. So we almost didn't make it, but we made it. If yours has more than 5 non-simple ingredients, then it is probably a Frankenfood. Okay? So did your snack pass the test? Did your snack pass the test? Let me know. Yes or no. We went through 7 things. There's more, but those are the 7 I wanted to share with you right now. Janice says 1 apple and 10 cherries. Okay, perfect. Sarah says MSG is mostly in noodle packs, some soups, ethnic foods. Ask your restaurant. Yes, very true. Particularly in a lot of Asian foods, as you might well know, MSG would be in. It's in a lot of African foods, I've noticed too. In a lot of Middle Eastern foods a lot of times. So definitely check. Oh yeah, and those soups, those packaged soups that you just add the water to, definitely need to check the ingredients list there. And it probably won't say MSG, but it'll use one of those covert names that we went over. So did yours pass the test? Let me know. Let me know. Andrea said hers passed the test with her chips. Awesome. Sarah says, I'm so simple, meaning that you don't eat too many things that are not processed. That's awesome. Great. So where did it fail? If yours failed the test, let me remind us, where did it fail, okay? And there are a few other hints, like I said, I wish I could share with you guys, but we are definitely running out of time. And let us know what your snack is if you passed, because those are probably the things we need to replace some of our snacks with. If our snack is a Frankenfood. Regina says, surprisingly, her chips passed. Why are you so surprised? Let us know what it is that you've been enjoying. So do you guys have any particular questions? Was this helpful? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if it was helpful, please. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And would you share this video with your loved ones if you guys found it helpful? I want us all to do better, okay? So if we're dragging, if we're walking in a mind fog, if we're in pain, if we're super tired, if we're moody and we're cranky and we can't explain it, and it can be fixed by just what we eat and how we eat, then that is a travesty, but it's also a miracle, okay? Because it's fixable. It's really fixable. So share this information with those that you care about so we can work from the ground up. So we can build a good structure of foods that we're staying away from, and then we can build on top of that with some healthier foods that will truly nourish you, okay? Let me see some of the comments. Sarah says, I'm just boring, help me. Okay, we will work on that, Sarah. Nina's failed with high fructose corn syrup. She had the Girl Scout Thin Mints, man. Gerald says, Frankenfoods, holy smokes, I'm not going to try. I lost. He didn't even participate. Come on, man. We got to work on that. Sarah says, what are some stuff that people with stage 4 liver can avoid? Stage 4 liver cancer, if that's what you mean, Sarah. If anyone has a particular medical condition that you want to ask me about, I would love to help you, but I ain't getting in trouble and losing my license. So I need to be your doctor, or you need to talk to your doctor about any particular medical conditions or questions related to you personally. So please message me and I'd love to help you. Nina says this was very helpful. Awesome. Awesome. Gerald says it was helpful. Andrea says it was helpful. Great, 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 great. Alexis asks, is carbonated water bad for us? In most cases, actually, Alexis, it is not. But you just have to make sure that it's truly just pure carbonated water. Like I drink seltzer water. My family, my husband put me on it. See, I have it right here. I have seltzer water, and it's pretty much just water carbonated. But some of it does add sodium. So if yours has water and sodium or other random things, then no, that's not too great because you're increasing your salt intake with that water. Janice says, thanks for the reminders. Awesome, awesome. So let's practice real physical self-care, guys, by nourishing the vessel that we have been blessed with, because we only have one body. We have one body. So let's try to treat it the best we can. Let's give our bodies premium fuel if we want it to run the best that it can. And if we're feeding our bodies with trash, we can only expect it to act like trash. We can expect it to act tired and achy and foggy and moody and all that stuff. So food can be your best medicine or your worst poison. And I really want you to think of your kitchen. Think of your kitchen as your personal pharmacy. Okay, so practice the best self-care and nourish your body with the right foods. Okay, and hey guys, speaking of physical self-care, if you haven't had the opportunity to download or purchase my book on self-care, please do. I have to put a little plug in there, not necessarily for the sake of me, but because I think that this information is super helpful for you. It's a powerful and it's a true guide and primer to help you create your own individualized plans to practice self-care spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And caring for yourself is key to being well, whole, energized, and loving life. Okay, and if you're a resident in the states of Georgia or Pennsylvania, I do provide telemedicine consultations online. I take care of routine conditions like diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, weight management, and even some of the acute conditions like headaches, etc. You can see under my services outlined on the Facebook page, and feel free to message, email, call me through the contact info that's provided on the Facebook page or on the Instagram profile, my website, if you're interested in making an appointment, okay? So I should have some openings actually for next week via telemedicine if you're interested. So I do hope that this information was helpful for you. Has it been helpful? I'm hearing a lot of thumbs up that it was informative. Great. Sarah says, I changed the house here to no soda, seltzer water. Yes, awesome. That was a big helpful trick for us. I never was a big fan of soda, but I guess my husband kind of sort of was a little more. So we just add like apple juice, half seltzer water, half grape juice, half seltzer water. And then we have the feeling like we're drinking soda, but we're not. It's so much healthier that way. So that's awesome. And Simone says her GI doctor told her seltzer water is not good, just plain water. Well, it depends certainly on your specific conditions. You may have a condition that prohibits you from eating seltzer water or drinking seltzer water regularly. So if it has posed an issue for you, then definitely listen to what your doctor is telling you. Will I have paper form available of the book, if that's what you're asking? Oh, yes. You can certainly go on Amazon for the paperback version of the book. You can get it that way. And if you'd like a autographed paperback version, you could go to drfsumner.com and click the shop link to get that. So again, I really hope this information was helpful for you guys. Please share with those that you care about if it was. I, again, am Dr. Felicia Sumner. I'm your board-certified family medicine physician. I am dedicated to empowering you and your communities to become well, whole, energized, and loving life. I will see you guys next time. Until then, be well. Have a great night, guys. Good to have you.